Hi, I'm Maxime Lepoutre, and I'm a lecturer in politics and international relations here at the University of Reading.
Hi, I'm Sophia, and I'm a first year student of consumer behavior and marketing course, and also I'm part of international content creators team. So today we're gonna chat about course of politics and international relations.
Yeah, great. So what I can start doing is tell you just a little bit about what students and international relations students in particular
Yeah,
might expect from the course.
yeah, thank you. Could you please provide a course overview?
Of course, so the Politics and International Relations program here at Reading is our largest program. And it's really a program that aims to do two things. First of all, it aims to give students a comprehensive understanding of politics and international relations. And then secondly, it's also a very flexible course. So it's also a course that gives you the opportunity to explore issues in politics and in international relations that you are most passionate about as a student. And this is really reflected in the structure of the course. So you start out on the program by taking a number of modules that give you this comprehensive understanding of what we consider to be the three pillars of the discipline. So this is comparative politics. So why do different countries have different political institutions? How do they work? International relations. This is more about what different states, different political communities, how they interact with each other, when they enter into conflict with each other. So that's the second pillar. And then the third is political theory. So that's the more philosophical side of the course. It's answering questions to do with ethics. In politics, we don't just talk about the way politics is, we also talk about what we should do. So we talk about things like justice, equality, democracy. These are all values. And so political theory is about trying to understand these values, these political values, what they mean, what they require. So that's what you would start out doing in the module, sort of in the program, getting an understanding of those three pillars. But then beyond that, you would get options to take modules that are suited to your own particular interests. So in the first year, you would get 2 optional modules. In the second year, you get 2 further optional modules. And then by the third year, things really open up. So everything is optional. You do 1 dissertation on a topic of your choice. So you're working with an expert who assists you in that dissertation. And then you have 4 more modules. And these are all optional. They're all just on something that you're interested in. And that's because by that time, by the time you get into the third year of the program, we expect that you know what you're most interested in. And so you have that complete choice in the third year.
That's really interesting. Thank you. So, can I ask you, what should international students expect from the first year of your course?
So the first year is really crucial in the program. And it's crucial, first of all, because it's there to give that solid foundation in terms of understanding those 3 pillars of the discipline that I was talking about: comparative politics, international relations, political theory. So you would have 1 module in each of those. And then you would have a further module on the politics of climate change. So here at Reading, we consider that climate change is one of the defining issues of our era. And so this is a module that analyzes that problem from a political perspective. And more specifically, it examines the problem of climate change from the perspective of those 3 pillars. So comparative politics, why are certain parties, like Green parties, more successful in some countries than others? Is there a connection between populism and denial of climate change? So that's a more comparative politics angle. We also look at international relations. Does climate change lead to international conflict? Why is it difficult for countries to agree on climate targets together? And then there are questions of ethics, questions of political theory. For example, what do we owe to future generations in terms of emissions reduction? So that's the politics of climate change module. It's a really important module you do in your first year because it's a problem-driven way of introducing you to those different parts of the discipline. And it's really reflective of the way that we approach teaching here at Reading, in the sense that we want this research in politics to inform the pressing challenges of our day. And that's what that course does. All of that is offered to all of our first-year students, but there are also some sessions or some programs that are specific to international students. In particular, as an international student arriving at Reading, in Welcome Week, there would be some welcome events that are specific to you, that are there to welcome you both to Reading and to the UK. Secondly, there's a language module that you're automatically enrolled in should you need help in terms of teaching and learning in English. And in addition to that, we have degree core competencies. So that's a program that's just there to get you up to speed with everything from essay writing to referencing. So that's really what the first year is about, really giving you that foundation.
Well, thank you. Earlier you mentioned that you have lots of module options. So what are the most popular ones?
So there's quite a range, and it's true that particularly as students get further along in the program, different students like different modules, but one of the most popular modules is called International Terrorism. So that's a module really in international relations that studies what terrorism is, why do some things get called terrorism and others don't, what's the difference between international terrorism and domestic terrorism, how has it evolved over the years, is terrorism today different from what it was like a few decades ago, what's the relationship between the media and terrorism, for example, is terrorism intended to capture attention in certain ways as part of its strategy. So that's been an extraordinarily popular module. There are others besides. One of my colleagues teaches a module on global justice. So this is a module more in political theory, looking at ethics beyond state borders. So that means questions to do with migration. Do states have a moral obligation to open their borders to refugees or other categories of migrants? Questions to do with development aid. What do states owe to other states or other countries in terms of aid? And one of the interesting things about this module in global justice, in addition to the fascinating content, is also the way that it's assessed. So it involves, among other things, a case study. So students get to pick something relating to the course content that in current affairs or in history that they're interested in, and they apply concepts and themes from the course to that case. So for example, if you were interested in development aid, you might write about the pandemic and the phenomenon of vaccine nationalism. One thing that happened during the pandemic is that countries sometimes tended to prioritize their own citizens in terms of vaccine distribution, as opposed to offering those vaccines to countries abroad. And one ethical question that arises is that just? Should countries do more to distribute vaccines to other countries? And so this is a module where you would have the opportunity to use questions about, say, development aid or global justice and apply them to concrete cases, such as this one. One module I like to mention is a module called the Politics and the Media. And this is really about understanding how the media influences politics, how the media covers politics, how new forms of media like social media are being used by politicians in their campaigning. So, it's extremely relevant to understanding politics today, but it's also a module that I think is really special because of how it's assessed. And what I have in mind here is that instead of doing a traditional essay or maybe an exam, students actually produce a podcast in the module. So students pick a political topic of their choice, something maybe it could be in current politics, something that they're interested in, and then they produce and design a podcast on that topic. And so you get all of these skills to do with production on top of learning about politics within the module.
You mentioned that some assessments are really special, and I have a question: how does the normal assessment look like throughout the year?
So assessment is extremely varied on the program. So at university, you will have some traditional forms of assessment. You will have some examinations and some essays, particularly in the first year. However, the further along you go in the program, the more varied assessments can be. So I've mentioned that in some modules you do a podcast. In other modules, you might be doing a simulation. So we have a module on the politics of nuclear weapons. And the way it's assessed is that students are provided with, a possible event that might happen relating to nuclear weapons. And then they need to use what they've learned to try to understand what would happen in that situation. There are other things that we use for assessment. We also do participating in conferences. So this is a Model UN module. So this is a course where students learn about the United Nations. And part of the assessment is actually that students go to a conference, sometimes it's in London, where they participate in a broad simulation of the United Nations, such as might happen in the real world. So students participate in teams, and they're given a problem, and then they need to work with teams from other universities to resolve a problem. So it simulates the kind of real-world experience of the United Nations. And more broadly, I mean, this is very much something that we try to do on the program, that we try to have assessment that is authentic. And when I say authentic, I mean that it replicates the kinds of tasks that you will experience in the real world, so not just essays and exams.
Does your course imply any field trips?
So I would say that one of the really important ones is this Model UN field trip where you go participate in a conference. I should say that it's optional, so there aren't mandatory field trips as part of the program, but it's part of the choice that you have on the program. So you can pick, if you would like to do field trips, then you can pick a module like Model UN, and then you can go to this conference as part of your assessment.
Okay, thank you. Do you know what usual class sizes are?
So class sizes, usually, the way that it works is that in any given week for a module, you would start with a lecture. So this is where everyone is present. So if it's a very big module, you might have quite a few people. But then later in the week, you break up into smaller groups. And those are usually between 15 to 20 students. And those small groups are really important to learning here in politics and international relations. So the small groups are where you get to know other students in your class. They're where you get to know faculty, and faculty get to know you. And most importantly, they're really where you get to say what you think about the issues and debate the issues with your peers.
Is it kind of seminars and webinars?
Yeah, so it's overwhelmingly it's in-person seminars. That's right.
In-person seminars. Okay, thank you. Now I have a really interesting question. Do you have any department societies?
We do. Actually, we have a really flourishing politics society, which is student-run, and they've been organizing all kinds of events, and they plan to continue doing so. Recently, this is absolutely fascinating. They had they've been having external speakers come, and they had an external speaker who was a two-time escapee from North Korea, Dr. Timothy Cho. They also have had external speakers relating to Russian covert operations, so more to do with security and international relations. They organize debate nights, so they've had debate nights, I think quite interesting debate nights on the monarchy, on freedom of speech, so really where students can bring their different political perspectives and encounter perspectives different from their own. They organize regular themed social events, so for instance, for the recent US election, they had a US election watch party. So they have really a variety of social and academic events. On top of that, they also provide support for members of the society. For example, it can be networking events helping to advance your career. It can be essay writing sessions. So they really do quite a bit, and I think it contributes to a very nice community for students here.
Can I ask you what types of research are available for students?
So we're very committed to research in our teaching and learning here at the Department of Politics and International Relations. And this really comes up in different ways. First of all, we're a very research active department. In the UK, there's something called the REF, the Research Excellence Framework. So this is the nationwide assessment of research across the UK. And the Politics and International Relations Department ranked 6th in terms of outputs by faculty in the UK. So this is the articles and the books published by faculty were ranked 6th across the entire country.
Wow.
And the reason this matters for students studying with us is that we use this research to inform our teaching and learning. So if you are taking a module on terrorism or on nuclear weapons or on global justice or on gender and politics, all that you're learning, it's really informed by research that people in the department are doing right now. And so it's really cutting edge modules. Now, one thing that's really important is that research doesn't just feature in terms of what we teach, it also features in terms of the work that students do. So we're really committed to providing students with the skills and training such that you can become researchers in your own right. And this features in different parts of the program. At the end of the program, all students do a dissertation. So this is on any topic relating to politics and international relations that you are fascinated by, that you think more knowledge on this topic is needed. And what we do is you pick this topic and we pair you with an expert in politics in the department whose research is closest to your own. And that faculty member offers support for students as they write their dissertation. So by the end of the program, you aim and you aspire to be a researcher in your own right in this discipline.
Oh, that sounds impressive. Thank you. So next questions are going to be more career-based. I think our prospective students are quite interested in these questions. What are the most popular career options for graduates?
So it's really varied and it's very diverse. So if you do a degree in politics and international relations here at Reading, obviously one of the things you may want to work in is politics or international relations. And some of our students have indeed done this. So we have students who've gone into the civil service, into local government, so really in the public sector. But I would say that students don't only go into jobs to do with politics and international relations. A really important part of the program is that we embed general skills and training that's going to be relevant in a range of careers other than simply politics and international relations. So we have had students go in the private sector, in consultancies like Deloitte, in BAE Systems. So this is a defense contractor in the UK. We've had students go in the media. So we have a student who has gone to work for the BBC. And we've had students go into third sector. So things like citizens advice. We had a student last year who went to work for the National Farmers Union. So it's really broad. And what that really reflects is that we have a strong emphasis on employability. So when you're taking the degree, the content of what you're learning is going to be relevant to a range of careers, but on top of that, you're going to be acquiring skills like presentation skills, writing skills, research skills, data analysis skills, and those are going to apply to a range of careers beyond simply politics and international relations careers.
Does your course encourage any professional placements?
Absolutely. So and this goes hand in hand with this emphasis on employability that I was mentioning. We have different placement options. One which is very popular is the placement year. So when you do a degree in politics and international relations, you can extend it by 1 year. So this becomes politics and international relations with placement year. You can do this after you've started the program. And what happens is that after your second year at the university, you go do a professional placement. And so you're getting paid on this placement, you're getting work opportunity, you're developing skills, and then you come back to Reading for your fourth and final year, which is academic. Now, in addition to the placement year, another option is to do a shorter placement during your second year. So this is, instead of doing an optional module, you do this shorter placement, and it can be in various things. It could be, for example, doing a placement with your local member of parliament. And then finally, there are some modules that actually embed placement opportunities. So we have a module called British Government and Politics, and as part of the assessment, one of the things that you can do is actually do a placement with a report on that placement. So there are many, many placement opportunities. And one thing that I would really stress is that not only do we have many placement opportunities, but we actually have a designated placement coordinator for our school, so for the School of Philosophy, Politics, and Economics. And so this is someone who gives one-on-one support for CVs, for applications, and so on and so forth.
So if you chose a 3-year course, could you change it to 4-year course with placement year?
Yes, absolutely. So that's something, if you've applied on the politics and international relations, you can then, once you've started, change onto the placement option, and vice versa. You can also change out of the placement option, but that's very easy to do.
Cool. Thank you so much, Maxime, for such interesting talk about politics and international relations course. And thank you for watching this. I hope you enjoyed this video and it was informative for you. Subscribe for more, and thank you.